we cross the street, we go for a coffee, okay? And I talk to you like this, and then I don't look when I cross the street. And sometimes you have a reflex like that. And the car comes, shoo. Sometimes you don't even see the car coming. But the brain anticipates that the car was coming. And many times in our life, we have reflexes that save our life. That's an easy one to understand. But sometimes, imagine that we're in a big workshop, many people are here, and someone says, someone that you know, okay? He says here, he insults you from far away. And everybody hears that. And you become red like a tomato, insulted. And then, but you don't say a word, you're a nice guy, okay? Or nice woman, nice man. But in your mind, pissed off. But you're nice, you don't say no word. The problem is people who are ill, most of the time are nice guys, nice women. They don't say what they think at the moment they are hurt. They swallow it. This is why some therapy is to make people pissed off, to make people angry so they can say today what they didn't say at the time they became ill. Okay? So now, let's say this person has insulted you, but you're a nice person and you go home that night just thinking about that. Pissed off, pissed off. And you think about that for the next 5 days. Right? Then one morning you wake up, it's finished. Finally, you go forward with your life. Yes, but 3 weeks later, ouch, I have a problem here. And then you go to see your doctor, say, oh, look at that, you have some gallbladder stones. Gallbladder stones, they are there to show us that we had a grudge towards someone, or you feel that someone has a grudge toward you, gallbladder, okay? So what's interesting is at the moment of a conflict, of a problem, if I don't resolve it, if I don't clear that with the person right away, or with someone, at least I talk about that, if I don't give an issue with my word, it goes into the tissue. So to release it from the tissue, I need to give an issue with the words now. This is why we make people talk, right? Okay, so is it easy for you to understand that one? So now the next one is the next one is pretty interesting. Right? There's a woman who became blind. When she's born, she sees very well. At 25 years old, she sees very well. At 27 years old, she starts to lose her eyesight. Right? And then now she's at 32. She has about 50% of the vision than before. And then the doctor says, I think you will become blind. But when he examined her eye, it's pretty clear, pretty good. But when he examined the optical nerve, he noticed that she has a stenosis of the optical nerve. Okay, so now, imagine that you have the eye, and then you have the nerve, okay? And the nerve is connected with the brain. So in biology, we know that when a pathology touches the nerve, any pathology that touches the nerve is before movement. My brain says, do that. So my muscle will do the movement. But what in me will give the direction to the muscle is the nerve. So when I make a decision, I tell to my muscle, do this. So my nerve will transmit the information to the muscle. So we say that every time the nerve is touched, the conflict is fear. Fear, okay? Or anticipation. Anticipation. What is the purpose of the eye? Is to see. To see. Now, if this woman has a problem with the optical nerve, a stenosis of the optical nerve, make the phrase, she has a fear to see or to be seen. Okay? To be seen. To be seen. So now, when we work with her, we see her at 32 years old with a prognosis that she will become blind. It started at 27. So we explore her life timeline when she was younger. For example, 25, 20, 10, 5. And you find nothing about vision, no stress about vision. We think that it doesn't work. So maybe, and you cannot help everybody. And then we have a questionnaire about the pregnancy to give the mother. And then when she asks her mother to answer the questionnaire, the mother says, you know what, darling? We don't talk about the past in our family. We're positive people. No problem, you respect that. And then she will ask her mother twice. And then she will call me, she will say, it doesn't work, she doesn't want. I said, does she like red wine? Give her some red wine one night, okay? Because we say, when the wine tells the truth. Okay? So she laughed, but finally, 3 months later, is what happened. She asked her mother so much what happened when she's pregnant, because what we know is the mother divorced the father when that girl is 2 years old. Right? So here there's a divorce. Why the mother divorced the father? The father was mean toward his daughter. He never accepted his daughter. But what's interesting now, that night they have a good dinner, and then she lived with her mother. Nice dinner and red wine. And she gave a little glass to her mother. And then when the mother is finished, she takes the bottle, she pour a big wine, a big glass, and she give her a big glass, and then she will tell her something that she never knew. She was told that when she married her husband, that woman, she was very disappointed. She was discouraged, and her husband was a little bit depressed and not caring at all. So the mother felt left out a little bit. But she's Catholic Christian. So she goes to church from time to time, and she goes to the confessional from time to time. And one day, the priest was very understandable. So understandable that they had an intercourse at the back of the church at the end. Now, it's a true story, okay? Now imagine yourself, you're a priest, okay? What do you have in mind when you do that? First, you know God is watching. You already finished ahead of time. Okay? Yeah, fear to be seen. The mother fear to be seen. Eh? So, how old is the mother at that moment? 27 years old. Eh? And that girl will be born, the mother's about 27 and 9 months, or maybe 11 months, something like this. But what's interesting is it's exactly, she started to be blind the moment she reached the same age that the mother was when she conceived her with that fear. Huh? So now, just a little question for yourself. If you want to know how it was for your parents when you were born, how old were your parents the day you were born? And check your age, what happened to you that day when you reach the same age. Sometimes it's a bliss, sometimes it's less a bliss. Okay, so that's fun to see. Because we are biological beings. Huh? We come from dad and mom. And when you're out of the womb, it's like a seed. We will show the world what happened before. Okay? So what's interesting, this woman has recovered 60% of her eyesight after. Not right away, but in the next 6 months. She still needs glasses, but at least she has recovered a big part of her eyesight. And I noticed that, you know, in medicine, when you have sometimes macular degeneration, retinitis pigmentosa, there's no solution in medicine. People can become blind with that. But all my clients who had these two pathologies, from the first session, it's stable after. Some it improved a little bit, but I've never seen a complete recovery. But what I notice most of the time is stable. It's already fantastic because you can become blind with this pathology. Oui? Yeah. Very good question, okay? Yeah. Yeah. So now what's the connection between the mind of the mother and the mind of the daughter? First, keep in mind that we study a lot of things about God, huh? But keep in mind in biology, dad and mom are like God. When they meet, they create, but they create with what? They create with what they are. So now, I'll go there right away. Maybe. So, maybe I answer you quickly and answer you better later, okay? So now, when parents conceive a child, a little bit before, during, and after, which means 9 months before conception until the end of the first year of life, every time my parents experience something overwhelming, if they die, I die, okay? You know that. If mom is expecting me and she has a problem, she dies, I die. So now, during that time, every time my parents experience something overwhelming, the brain of the parents download the conflict into the baby's brain under the form of a memory. It doesn't mean the child would be ill with that, but it can be a programming for something later in his life. Okay? It's just the release of energy to optimize the chance of survival. Now, if you keep that in mind here, no, just a second, I'm not finished. I want to just to go. Now, from the moment a mother is pregnant, okay, please, mother, don't worry. No guilt, no blame, no victim. So we don't make it worse right now. But what's interesting is when my mom is pregnant with me, if she goes through something overwhelming, when her brain downloads something into the subconscious, the baby is the subconscious of the parents. And later I show the world what happened. Okay? So, and then, so now, I give you an example, okay? Remember what we say, hammer focus, the area of the brain. So I have a client, a woman, she calls me because she has larynx cancer. So in the brain, the cortex, larynx is at this area about 11 o'clock. And then when you look at the chart of Dr. Hammer, at 11 o'clock is the larynx. And she has cancer of the larynx. But me, I know cancer of the larynx comes as a recovery phase. That means it's a cancer that comes to heal something. To heal what? A fear, a feminine fear. So on the chart, the left side corresponds to the feminine, and the right side corresponds to masculine. I give you first what is a masculine fear. In biology, that you're a woman or a female or a male, when you're on the masculine side, you're not on the feminine side. So I give you an example, okay? When we are on the feminine side, many men are on the feminine side too, okay? So when I have a fear, it's like this, and I run away. But if I'm masculine, I'm not allowed to run away, I have to protect. Attack, okay? When you're in the so you have mothers, when they have to protect their child, they become tiger, okay? You have some men, when a mouse comes, oops, they climb on a chair. Because it depends where they are at that moment, masculine or feminine, okay? So now, this woman, she calls, she cries, she's 60 years old, she has larynx cancer, she will go to radiation. And then she's a heavy smoker. So, okay, larynx cancer. She's a heavy smoker since 15 years old. She smokes 3 packages of 25 cigarettes every day. Everybody promised her cancer one day. She believed that. So now when she's diagnosed, in her mind, it's because of that. But me, I learned that larynx is feminine fear. I want to find what is the feminine fear in her. I say, okay, cry 5 minutes, but let's work now. And then, okay, so, Now, the story is this. It's important because everything's about story. I don't know how to heal larynx cancer, but when I found it, she healed. Right? But I don't know at first, she was my first case for larynx. So, but what's interesting, so she is, let's say like this, okay? My client, that woman, her name is Jeanette. She's 60. Jeanette has a daughter, okay? Let's say just to make sure I don't, which name? Anna, okay? Anne, right? And then Anne is 29 years old. And then Anne has a girlfriend who is, let's say Jean. Her name is Jean, okay? The girlfriend. She's also 29 years old. And both women, they work in a hospital in Montreal. Okay? And at that time, these nurses in Montreal are, when they have a baby, they are not allowed to stay 3 months longer in a leave of absence because they have an important lack of nurses. So they receive some good money to go back quickly. So, but Anne, she became pregnant. And then 2 weeks later, Jean became pregnant. So super happy. And both women, they delivered their baby in August. 1 week interval. August. Okay. One the 15th and the other one the 22nd. Okay. So, and then so they have their baby at home. They for 3 months at home, and they visit each other. They love each other. Okay. Very good friends. And then the day they go back to work. Okay. So these Jeanette is the grandmother of Anne. And then Jean has a grandmother, Odette. Okay? Odette will take care of Jean's baby, and Jeanette, Anne's baby. So now, life goes forward, and then we say in November, the women are back at work, okay? Back at work. That one to November. Yes, and then when this baby is 6 months old, in February, while the grandmother took care of that baby died during his sleep. We call that Cribs dead baby. It's a big drama. And then Jeanette, the grandmother here, she is told, yes, it can happen until the baby is 1 year old. So for the next 6 months, Jeanette will take care of her grandbaby. What she has in her mind? Think about that. 100 times in a day, she will go into the bedroom. She freaks out. She's in fear constantly for the life of the baby. And you know the baby, sometimes you don't see they breathe. You go beside, close. She freaks out many times in a day. Like this. Right? So now, next August, with 2008, first anniversary, happy birthday to you. Nobody makes the connection with, for 6 months, she's in fear that her granddaughter dies. But when she celebrates 1 year old, she's super happy. With her husband, they go on holidays. And when they come back from holidays, Jeanette starts to feel something. She just goes into a repair phase of 6 months of a fear for her granddaughter. And then she's diagnosed. She calls me at the beginning of November. She has been just diagnosed 1 week ago. And in 45 minutes, we make that connection on the phone. So in a week, she goes to start radiation, and the doctor says, oh, it's almost nothing. She had 1 treatment of radiation, completely healed after that. That was that story. We don't do anything else. You find a story, And when you find the person, the pressure decreases. So what is interesting, sometimes you have a client with a pathology that you never had. But the week later, I had a man in New York with the same pathology. We found a conflict similar, and he healed. Right? In 1 month, he healed. Yes, but it's easy, because larynx cancer comes as a repair phase of a fear. So when you find a fear, it's already 50% of the healing. You have some pathology that they come in conflict phase. The person didn't resolve anything. And that normally is more important to discover what is at the origin. Okay? So, but that's the story for Jeanette, okay? And I want to say something. Some people are diagnosed with glioblastoma. Glioblastoma is a tumor in the brain. And when we have, for example, when in the word glioblastoma, when you have the word blast here, blast means support. Support, feeling supported and protected. Okay? Protected. So we cannot interfere with the doctor. When someone is diagnosed with a brain tumor, sometimes the doctor recommends surgery. But what is interesting, we work with the client, he goes to the surgery, and if he finds the reason why he had it, quite often it does not come back. But if we don't find anything and he gets in terrible fear, sometimes it comes back. Okay? So what's interesting, there's a man, you know, the picture that you see there, it's a woman who came to see me to make picture for a sponsor somewhere. She brought her husband. And then she wanted to make picture of me with a client. So her husband was there, and he was my client, symbolic. Right? Yeah, but 1 year later, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma. So he became my client for 1 session. And you know what? What happened is this man, he never had a glioblastoma. He had the brain very clear. And one day, at 48 years old, he went to see a psychologist, and he uncovered with the psychologist a memory when he was 9 years old. His father beat him up. His father was drunk. He was scared to death about his father. 2 days later, glioblastoma in this area. Awakening of that memory. It's like if, it's crazy, but sometimes the tumor comes to heal a memory that was recorded at the moment of a big drama in the past. So we uncovered that. 2 months later, he went for surgery, and we are now 2 years later, and it didn't come back. It's a perfect result for the surgeon. Is it because we were? I don't know, but at least we find the story. So our job is to find the emotional trauma behind the conditions. And then we let the doctor doing his job. Right? And so that's interesting to find.